So we are going to talk about some hindrances that keep you from making money. So what are the things that keep you from talking to people? What are some common fails when you're on the phone? Some myths, some misconceptions that we might have. And we'll talk about a few other things. So let's dive in. Steve already talked about call reluctance and a fear of calling. And guess what? You just learned 5 ways to deal with that, 5 ways to handle that reluctance. But another thing is overthinking everything, right? Some people will think, oh, what list am I calling? What do I have the right script? And is this script perfect? And what is the who am I actually talking to? And should I research all of them? When I started, I used to do all that. I used to try to research everything about the property, and they didn't answer the phone. So I'm like, I did all this research on their property and they don't answer the phone. And so stop overthinking, like, what are they going to think? You don't know what they're going to think. So just make the call.
Yeah. And one tip about that, Jesse, it's another point I was thinking about as you're making these phone calls. And, first of all, the best way to do it is just make the calls one after another. And if you get somebody on the line that you're going to set an appointment with and they set the appointment, or, you have a callback scheduled, the last thing you want to do is stop before you hit your daily prospecting goal and start researching the property and start trying to pre-qualify. You just want to go to the next one. If you just get your prospecting calls done, you then, when you're done after that 2 hours or 3 hours, then you can do all the research. Don't do it before, don't do it during, do it after you set an appointment. Because like you said, you could research the hell out of a bunch of expireds before you make the calls and get a hold of 0 because you waited too long to call.
That's the truth. And like you said, make the first call. Like, you're actually going to get into a groove, a momentum, just with any task in life that you're doing, right? If you sit down to paint a painting and you start getting some paint going, you don't want to stop and then come back to that a week later. You want to get in, when you're in that motion and that groove of it, keep that momentum going.
Yeah, the first call is definitely the hardest. And there's days that I'm maybe tired in the morning at 8 o'clock, and I know that I need to start making my calls. Well, guess what? It's actually pretty easy to make that first call if you're tired and you're half, your brain's not fully functioning. Just do it. Just be a robot. Make the first call. And then when you get 2 or 3 down the road, you get into a groove, you get excited, you get energy, and then it's easy. But it's just that first call. If you sit there and, take a little siesta from 8 to 8:30, you're never going to get into the groove. Just start making those first few calls, even if you're completely out of it, you haven't had your coffee. That's the best way to do it, I've found.
And you know what, Steve, I think I can just feel someone thinking, oh, well, I don't do cold calling. I just call my database. People have the same fears, even not calling their database, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so, this works the same with everybody you're calling, every prospect.
And point number 4 here is just thinking you have to be perfect. Like, you have to know all the answers. I need to know everything about the market. I need to know everything about FSBOs and everything about how to talk to expireds. You don't. We have a script. So just go through the script and ask the question and see what happens.
And don't do what I did early on and overthink the scripts. When I first looked at the scripts that I saw online and with the coaching program that I was a part of, I thought they were ridiculous. I said to myself, A, there's no way I'm going to use these scripts because they're goofy. B, who the hell makes, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year using these scripts? There has to be some sort of secret here. And what I found out pretty quickly, thank God, was no, they're actually using the scripts. Even the people making $1 million a year are using these same scripts. All it is a series of questions. It's a conversation. So yes, you don't want to be like a robot and just, mundanely go through the script, but you want to practice the scripts and make them your own, but you can do that as you're calling, as you're going through the motions. You don't have to spend, weeks and years practicing the scripts before you start using them. Just use them until you get comfortable with them.
Yeah. Pro athletes, they're already on the field, but every day they're still practicing, but they still have a game that night. Right.
That's right.
All right. Let's talk about a few phone call fails. And I was on a training the other day where they talked about this exact, this first point here. And that is when we talk about practicing the scripts, The main thing you need to practice is the first opening, the strong opening. Like practice the first 2 sentences and like say that 25 times before you start making your calls. If that makes you feel more comfortable, like, hi, this is Jesse with eXp Realty. I was calling about your home for sale. Or hi, this is, just say that like 50 times, 100 times. You will have such a good, smooth, clean, crisp, perfect opening. And then it makes the rest of the conversation just kind of flow a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I do that. And trust me, guys, I do this all the time. There's going to be lulls and there's going to be time in between pickups, even with a dialer. There always is. There could be 5 minutes. You sit there and it dials 25 numbers and nobody answers. During that time, I am saying the first opening lines over and over again, or I'm saying they're waiting for my call. They're ready for my help. They want me to call them. They're going to answer the phone. Hi, this is Steve with eXp Realty. I was calling about the house for sale at 123 Main Street. Are you the owner? And I say it over and over again. And guess what? Even if I've said it 25 times and then they answer the phone and then I say it again, it's going to sound natural. They have no idea that I've been a robot saying this 25 times before they got on the phone. It's funny. They answer the question every single time. You know, it's amazing. I love it.
So, which leads right into number 2 here, which is sounding scripted. You will, if you don't practice, you will sound scripted. You will sound like you are reading something. Hello, Mr. Seller. I am calling about the home for sale on 123 Main Street. Like you will sound scripted if you don't practice. So we're saying practice because that helps you be more natural, not be a robot. So we talked about this before, right, Steve? Like the NLP stuff, like pauses and
yeah.
I don't know if you want to go in.
Yeah, what I find myself doing is immediately when they answer the phone, I mimic their tonality and their rate of speech and the volume and everything. So everybody has a different way of talking, and as soon as they say the first couple of words, the next question that I ask is going to be very similar to the way they talk, and that makes them much more comfortable. Even if it's somebody with an accent, I turn into somebody with an accent pretty quickly. And that's just something that I've learned to do, and that helps tremendously. And let me also say this, Jesse, I don't know about you, but were you one of those kids in school that always was kind of quick-witted? You seem like you would be. Like, you know, somebody would say something to you, you'd have a pretty quick comeback. And
yeah, it's got me in trouble a few times.
I'm sure it has. And I know you're that type of guy. Guess what, guys? I'm not. I'm one of those guys that would say something so stupid for a comeback, and then I'd think about it later, and I'd hit myself in the head like Chris Farley. Oh God, what did I say that for? What an idiot. I still do that. I'm not that quick or smart or anything. So if I can do this, you guys can do it. Believe me. All you have to do, you can make mistakes on the phone. I've listed over 75, 80 homes in a year, many years in a row, and I make a ton of mistakes. It's just making the calls and actually having the conversation. It doesn't really matter how good you are, how many mistakes you make. You just got to make the calls.
In fact, the more mistakes you make, the better you get, right? So the people that strike out the most, the people that miss the most free throws, they're also the guys that score the most. So
true.
It's okay to fail the most. It's okay to suck the most. It's okay. That's how you get better. Number 3, this is something I tried to do too often, was trying to close really hard on the phone. Like that first call always had to be a home run. And if you're always trying to make a home run on the first time, it's not going to work. You're going to repel people. They can smell that. They call it commission breath, right?
Right.
So don't try to close hard every single time on the phone where like, if I don't get it this time, I'm not going to get it. No, because there's a follow-up game afterwards, right?
Right. Yeah. You have to know when to hold them and know when to run. So you want to try to close as many times as you can, but you're going to get to a point where you realize that it's time to, you know, if they have an objection, if they have a condition rather than an objection, you don't want to keep trying to close. If they say, well, I'm not selling until my kid graduates from high school in May. Well, you sure you don't want to go ahead and get the property listed today? We'll get you more money today. No. If they have a condition that's when you want to chill out and you want to play the follow-up game. And you don't want to try too hard to close when it's unnecessary. You want to try hard to close, but not too hard. You don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, there's a difference between a hard close and a soft close. A soft close is kind of that, hey, by the way, we could get together. Then, hey, if we don't get together today, someone else is, just there's a hard,
Right.
Don't be hard, be soft. And in those cases, another
when would be a good time for you that we could get together and I could show you exactly what's going on in the market so you can prepare for when you are ready to sell?
That's a good close right there.
Today be good, or would you rather wait till next week? Or you tell me. I'll put it in my calendar. Well, I'd like to wait until January. Perfect. What's a good day for you? How does January 15th? Do afternoons work for you? A Wednesday afternoon? No, that probably wouldn't be good. How about Saturday? Would a Saturday be better? Yeah. Okay. 2:00 on Saturday, the 18th. I'm available. I'm going to put you in my schedule. And what I'll do is I'll follow up with you before then, obviously, to remind you and confirm the appointment. So how does that sound? January the 18th at 2:00. Good. Okay, great. Guys, if you do that 30, 40 times over the next, 2 months, guess what? You're going to do exactly what I've done in the past, and that's take 15 to 20 listings in January. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what you want?
It's exactly what you want.
That was gold. Guys, go back, rewind that, because that close right there. That's a soft close. You're closing, but you're not being this commission breath slimy person, right?
Trying to help.
Trying to help them. Just trying to help. Number 4, not asking questions. So Steve, somebody told us telling is not selling. What does that mean?
Telling somebody how you're going to do what you're going to do and why they should do this or that is not selling. Selling is asking questions about what they want. Selling is asking a series of questions to get a desired result. So that's why we have scripts. That's why we have the questions in order, because the intention is to try to get information from them in an orderly way that you'll be able to set an appointment with them. All right. So it's asking them questions. If you're selling somebody, you're asking questions, you're not telling them. Telling is not selling. It's asking a series of questions to get a desired result.
Bam. All right. We got a couple of the pointers down at the bottom. Play the question game, which we've talked about before.
Jesse, have you ever played the question game?
You know what, Steve? I have played it, but I don't know. Have I ever played it with you?
I think we played it a few times. I believe that it was sometime last week, wasn't it?
You know what? Now that you're reminding me, yeah. Would you like to play the question game again?
Man, I would love to play the question game again. Why don't we, do you know of anybody else that we can get involved and play that question game?
I don't know. You know what? Is anybody on the call want to? So we're
you
playing.
Go on and annoy everybody around you by doing that. But guess what? You're going to get a lot better at selling if you do that and practice that way.
Asking questions. That's all it's all about.
There you go.
And there's a lot of good books on our recommended book list that kind of handle that as well. Get a few role play partners on this call right now. You guys could get a role play partner in the chat. Just drop it in the chat or in the comments below. Hey, does anybody want to role play every week? Get a couple role play partners. And one of my most craziest things that I've done is record myself prospecting and record myself practicing.
And we have role play groups within the workplace chat. There is and WhatsApp. If you guys want to get a role play partner, just ask us and I'll connect you with people that want to role play daily.
If you don't have a role play partner, it's probably because you don't want one.
That's right.
There's a lot of them.
We got them.
Every Monday we have a call as well. extremeagentsevents.com. There's a link to
10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Central Time. I'm there every Monday.
I am. Okay. A couple last pointers here. We're just going to throw out to you. That is some of this. People get hung up about sales. Even salespeople get hung up about sales. And number one is they think cold calling doesn't work. And all I can say is that's not true, right? Because it's a numbers game, right? No matter what channel, no matter what, whether you're doing paid ads or if you do direct mail or you get on the phone, every single one of them, it's a math equation, right?
That's right.
It's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game. I don't care what anybody says, but whether you're prospecting, outbound calling for business in real estate, or you're getting inbound leads, guys, it's a numbers game. Definitely, there's definitely quality leads and better prospects, quality prospects to call. But guess what? Somebody that's a for sale by owner, what are they telling us? They're telling us that they have a house that they want to sell. What is an expired or canceled listing telling us? We had our house on the market for sale and it did not sell. We want to sell. So those are the hottest ones you can get. That's a big, secret there, that yes, by calling those people, it does work. And I love seeing the stuff online. I was Googling some, prospecting videos or something, and like an ad popped up and said, prospecting does not work in this day and age, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's because you're spending 75% of your income on leads and you think that you're doing great. I get it.
Right. We've had this conversation with so many people like, oh, why are you doing that? Hey, it works.
That's right. And you don't have to pay any, basically very much at all. It's very financially sound.
And guess what? After it's cold, you can follow up with all kinds of different channels. So it's not cold forever. Anyways, the first call might be cold, but then after that, it's a follow-up call. And that's not a cold call. So get over it. It's not going to be cold forever. It's going to warm up. It's going to be hot. And then you're going to have a closing. Number two, people think it takes all day to do phone prospecting or just any type of prospecting. How many hours a day are we talking really though?
To make $100,000 a year or more, it's an hour a day. To make $200,000 or $250,000 a year or more, it's about 2 hours. And if you do 3 hours to 3.5 hours, you're going to make about $400,000 to $500,000 a year. That's in your first 2 to 3 years.
Those are facts right there.
Every year.
I don't care what market you're in. Those are facts.
So I don't know about you guys, but I've had day jobs before. I think I've worked at Domino's Pizza. I've worked at Nordstrom's. All those places, I had to work for 8 hours at a time at least. And when you're prospecting, when you're a real estate agent, you can spend an hour or 2 hours a day and make 5 times as much as you would make at those other jobs. So it might be something to think about.
Something about. Another misconception that I find is that people think I already called them and 1 or 2 times is enough to talk to somebody. That's like 10% of your leads. You're going to close them on the first 1 or 2 times. The other 80, 90% or whatever, it's going to be that follow-up game. So don't get stuck like, oh, I already called them. They aren't interested. They're not. Call them again. We have leads we call 6 months later. We're still calling them every month and tagging in with them. So number 4, Steve, people don't, again, this is like a internal dialogue I think we have. I don't want to be seen as this slimy salesperson.
And that's okay. If you don't want to be seen as a salesperson, find another job. It's real simple. I mean, this is a sales job. We are salespeople. The highest paid industry in the world is sales, and just about in every walk of life. Sales is what makes the economy go around. That's why, hey, guess what? That's why there's 2 million real estate agents in the United States. That's why when COVID hit, we were, what was it called? An essential profession or employee, just like a doctor. It helps, trust me. There's a lot of salespeople out there for a good reason. And yeah, some people are turned off by it. But if you do it the right way, the way we're teaching you how to do it, you don't come across as slimy. You come across as professional. And that's what you are. You're a professional real estate agent. You're a professional salesperson. You're a licensed professional. That's the way that your mindset should be.
Yeah, just don't be slimy. Just be a good salesperson. Be proud of it. Number 5, some people think, well, in order to make, this prospecting game, this real estate thing, I got to be lowering my commission. No, because a lot of times in prospecting, Jesse, aren't you one of the only people that might be calling this prospect? So if you have less competition, because guess what, guys, there's a lot of high producing agents that are prospecting, but there still is not that many. I do this a lot. And when I talk to prospects, either ones that I do business with or ones that I just am on the phone with, I ask them how many other calls they've had. And sometimes they say I've had 2 or 3 calls. Sometimes they say 25. Well, if they've had 25 calls, guess what? There's 35,000 agents in my market. That means less than 0.0001% of the agents is actually calling them. So if you're one of the few agents that are professional enough and hardworking enough to call them, why the hell would you lower your commission? You're not going to have to. It's a non-issue. Damn. Number 6, we kind of already mentioned this. but don't have commission breath. Don't think I have to get a listing or get a buyer at any cost. Like I'll just take out anybody and show them homes, and I'll take any listing if I do have to lower my commission. No, pre-qualify. And we have a script for that as well. Pre-qualify people and find out, are they worth your time? Do they deserve your time? Are they worthy of your time? Your time is very, very valuable.
You want to work with them. Yeah.
Do you like them? Are they jerks? Don't work with jerks.
You don't have to work with people you don't want to work with in this business. If you have enough leads, if you're doing enough prospecting.
Okay. Last point we have here is that salespeople must always be serious and kind of boring. Well, that's true because a lot of professional people do repetitive stuff over and over and it gets boring. But Steve already mentioned this, right? You can have fun. You can laugh. You can tell jokes.
You can get goofy and wild too. I've done that before where I'm like, you know what? Today I'm just going to be off the freaking wall, goofy, and just say some crazy stuff. Those are some of my best days prospecting because I'm putting off a good vibe, and you catch the right person at the right time. They're like, wow, nobody asked me that question. Or, you know, they're sick of hearing people just call and go through a robotic script, which a lot of people do that. A lot of agents do that because they might be new at this. They don't have a lot of practice and they're just trying to be robots. And that doesn't really work all the time. Rarely does it work. Or they have VAs making the calls for them who are robotic.
And Steve, I've seen some of these really, really high producers. I'm talking about guys that are doing millions and millions of dollars in sales. Jeff Quinton comes to mind. He actually role plays and does prospecting with his kids. They'll be driving down the road. Hi, this is Jeff with, eXp Realty. And I was calling about the house for sale. And his kids are like giving him objections. And he's like having fun being a salesperson, improving his skills with his kids. So have some fun, you guys. Don't be so tight.
That's right.
All right. Okay. We probably don't have time to
All right, we kind of went over the pro tips. Here we go. What are we talking about here? We got the blitz.
Blitz. Who's doing the blitz? I want to know who's doing the blitz.
I've been there every day, 8 to 10:30. I'm making calls, guys. So if you want to see somebody make calls and see how it's done, see how I make the calls, and I've like I said, I've talked to over 50,000 people in my career. I've tracked my numbers. There you go. 8 to 10:30 a.m. I'll be doing this for the next probably 30 some working days still, Monday through Friday.
I don't know, you guys, if a professional that had a decade of experience was showing me behind the scenes, I might want to take them up on that.
Please join us, guys. Please join us. All right. Any questions before we wrap this up?
Q&A time. Anybody in the comments?
Q&A, baby. All right. If there's no questions, guys, we really appreciate everybody being here. If you have any questions after the call, let us know, and we'll be happy to help. Just reach out to us. You know how to get a hold of us.
Have a blessed day. Cheers.
Have a great day. Talk to you soon.